But, Paul, I just found out that through my own lack of due diligence, for some reason, I did not have you in the logbook here, my official world-famous electronic database at the top of the line AM radio operators here. So I have belatedly added you to that august and austere collection of Wizards of the Heaviside layer. You're number 605. And I apologize for that, because I know you should be, you were one of the first people I talked to here way years ago when I got back on the air. This list is just a little more than 3.5 years old. 605. Can you believe there's that many old buzzards out there? Well, anyway, I got you in the log now officially. I don't know how I missed ever putting you in here. And the good part is that means I also never looked at your QRZ page. That's the first thing I do after I make the log entry. I'll go check the QRZ and get the distance and bearing and put that in here as well. And so I had the pleasure of looking at your QRZ page for the first time today. I'm really impressed. I mean, it's beautiful. Doggy X right here, and I want that broadcast console, man. That thing is really cool. I mean, look at that. The great big old V meters out there, dead center, right where they're supposed to be. Yeah, man. Left-handed, right-handed controls, you know. I love that. That's beautiful. All right, so anyway, I'm enjoying that, and thanks for putting those nice pictures up there. And it's really cool stuff. Back up to you, Paul. WA3 BJB in the group. King Mike 4 X-Ray Golf.
All right. KM4XG. And the group WA3 VJB. Number 605. In the XG Hall of Fame there, I guess. I just found out I'm number 120 in the Southeastern AM Radio Club log. Joe, I think you're in there. I was looking to see who all was in there. They're up to about 3, maybe 400 since it was founded or co-founded by the late Andy Howard, WA4KCY. I know I joined up fairly early, and even I was, over the first 100 in. And I got a coffee mug, and I think I got a T-shirt. One of the affiliated groups there for VJB Radio. But yeah, 605, you've been working some people. You know, I used to keep a card file that's about 1.5 foot deep. You know, your standard 3.5 by 5 index cards. And I stopped at 1.5 foot only because I ended up working a lot of people who were one and done. They were on AM, yes, but they were just trying it out, and they weren't coming back. And then there was this core group of AMers who I'd work regularly, may already have had a card, but if they didn't, I could remember or flip back a couple pages to refresh my memory. And I've kind of neglected the card file, I'm sorry to say, because there's been some historical notation in there, including some people who passed away. I'll quickly run to the card file and see if I had a dossier on them, and I'll quote stuff about them that I'd written down, back around 1989 or 1990 or onward for a few years when I was really diligent about it. And it's kind of neat to look back. But, I don't know, I just enjoy the time while I'm on and kind of live in the moment. But it's nice to be annotated there, Jim. And I still have that board that you see. If you're really interested in it, we should talk. It needs to be recapped. That's an all-solid state board known as the Stereo 80. It's a Harris. Very nice board, and one of the few in the world that's unmodified. Over the years, they tended to get hacked up and worked around and otherwise sullied. This one's really bone stock and never had any fires in it. And never been smoked in or coffee spilled on. So, yeah, that's sitting here with its power supply. It's another rare item. This is a remote rack mount 60-volt power supply that comes with it for the germanium transistors. And, yeah, it's a pretty board, but it was too new. I gotta tell you, Jim, it was too new for the rest of the station. So I instead gravitated toward the old RCA, the 1948 octal tube board that you most generally hear me on. That's in that video that's called 40 meter LP or something. That's the RCA board, and the current mess that the radio lodge exists within. Could never keep it as straight as you see in that picture. I even captioned it as such. That's a rare photo. Everything is neat. And yes, the dog X-ray. Keats, that's his name. And I wonder if your mom, did you ever get that dog for your mom that you and I talked about? I wonder about that. I think I connected you with the live rescue group where I participate, where Keats came from. Anyway, Keats likes to come out here with me. He likes to hear you guys on the radio, and he likes to hear me talk, and he just usually lays right here by my feet, listens to the QSO, tells me when it's 10 minutes to make an ID, and so on. So Keats needed to be the dog X-ray picture there when I activated up on 10 meters late last year. Pretty much discontinued now that the axis has changed. Can't easily work the West Coast, can't easily work the UK and Europe. It's all gone north-south, so have to wait till September for the sunspots to favor contacts in those directions once again. And Joe, yeah, boy, what an awful thing to be sitting there on the can when a lightning strike hits. That'd be like a nightmare. That's liable to give you GI problems, you know. But I had a laugh. I mean, you knew what you were doing, and apparently it didn't distract you that much. But, yeah, the outcome, shall we say, could have been a lot different. Here it comes again. N4RXVW83 with the group.
I have to admit, if you're going to get the mess scared out of you, no better place than on the throne. But thankfully, it was just one of them things. You get up, oh, I got to go, jump in, sit down. You don't want to be fiddling around and trying to ring the hose, so I just jumped, sat down, and that was it. And sure enough, pow! Doggone it. And, you know, I guess I had my company on my mind all the time, so it's like, yeah, I hope everything works out okay, I hope they're comfortable, blah, 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 and then it's like, oh, no. Now they're going to wake up, they're not going to have water, they're not going to have light, or electricity, or whatever, you know. I'm trying to help them out so that they would, you know, save the $300, $400, $500 for a hotel, and then they come out to the boondocks out here and to the boonies, and have to wake up in a log cabin with no power, pretty much. So, but things worked out all right. They were able to get up and go, and everything was fine. I guess the only immediate problem was that they weren't able to get on their phones, and you know, we gave them the Wi-Fi password, and they were, you know, typing away all that afternoon and that night. And I don't know, the kids were, you know, in their 30s, so it was four of them, four folks. They're a family of one of each, kids and mom and dad. So it all worked out okay for them to, you know, when they got up and left. But I'm still playing with the with the wires and stuff. I had to cut out all the burnt pieces. Just weird stuff. I'm telling you, it was just some really. I guess I haven't seen everything yet. Like I said, I haven't tried every piece of electronics. When lightning hit the house several years ago, it was before I got on my Kenwood TS530 fairly regularly. Now, that was back in the days when all I had was that sideband radio, and just didn't get on it. You know, there was a station here per se. There was a shelf and a little dresser shack-like thing sitting over here in the corner, and that one radio was all I had, and the gap antenna was all I had. So I would only get on it every 3 or 4 days. Every 3 or 4 weeks I might get on a weekend and just listen to some skip and maybe try to get there with just the TS530 because that's all I had at the time. Didn't have anything else set up in here. It was not till 2016 when I retired that I said, by golly, I'm going to have a station that I can get on and talk with maybe once a night, 2 or 3 times a week, whatever. So I started building. I think my first station picture is on that over there. It had very few things on it. I think I took my old CB radio out from the shack in the back, my workshop, just to set it on the shelf so I'd have 2 or 3 radios there. But well, anyway, I'm almost finished fixing everything. The phone company did come out and get my telephone back working, and I bought another base unit for it, and was able to. I bought one that just had the one base unit and the one receiver, and was able to pair up the other 3 that I have. But I don't have chargers but for 2, so I took the batteries out of one and set it to the side and paired up the other 2 and set them back in the charger. So all of that is working. I still don't have a printer, but I'm not worried about it. And I was lucky enough to have a modem here, so that got me back running again. And I had a sound bar that we never used for the TV, so I cut the sound bar on and got it connected up, and it connects to my dish remote control. So when the TV comes up, then the sound bar comes up now. So I'm slowly getting back, getting things together. I said I'm working on the computer over here. Maybe that'll get that up and running, and then go outside and get my beverage antenna back put together and all the wires connected, so I can flip the switch and make it go between one and north, south, and east, west. And that might be the end of next week, but I'm getting there slowly but steadily. N4 RXV. Here you go, Mr. Jim.
Yeah, QSL, Joe. 100%. You're still peaking up 20 over with about 10 dB of QSB floating back and forth. Another interesting phenomenon going on right now, the noise level is going up and down really rapidly. I'm hearing big increases, big swings in the noise level, going up and down, up and down. That seems kind of unusual. At least anyway here in Virginia on this old transceiver here. Well, heck, man, I was just thinking about all the times I got crossways with lightning, and I guess the funniest time was I was sitting out back of my house on Oakland Street in Arlington, and many years ago I had a girlfriend. We were sitting on the back porch, a little screened-in porch, a little bitty house, a little Sears house from the 1940s, a really cute little place. And a small backyard with a great big old oak tree coming up right out of the middle of it. Just dominated everything. Nothing could grow under that oak tree, man, I'll tell you, it was huge. And me and my girlfriend were sitting out there on the back porch, just taking in this thunderstorm that was going on, when all of a sudden, you know it, man, bang, boom, and both of us shot up out of our chair. We just, both of us rocketed up on our feet instantaneously, like we were sitting on springs, and ran ran to get inside the house, and we crashed into each other trying to go through the door. It was like, no, you first. No, me first. No, you first. No, we didn't do that. We were both of us trying to scramble and get in the door. Oh, she gave me hell after that. Why didn't you let me go through first? Well, anyway, yeah, the tree had been struck. And this tree was only, 40 feet away from us when we were sitting out there in the back porch, and it just blew a great big old hunk of this tree into the sky. The pieces of the oak tree were raining out of the sky. it was pretty ferocious, but it was also pretty funny. And Paul, man, I tell you what, I wish I had room, and that's a lie, because I could put it in the garage. But if I did that, I would be taking a path that I promised my wife I wouldn't do. I told her when I got back in the hobby, I said, look, all I'm going to do is put together a little emergency station in case, the poop hits the propeller. We'll have some communication. And she agreed to that. I told her I'm not going to go crazy and do all that stuff that I used to do, big antennas all over the place and yada, yada, yada. And, I just don't want to go there anyway. It's enough keeping this little station going, I have little problems every once in a while I got to fix, and, as long as this station works every day, when I sit down and turn it on, it works the same way, I'm satisfied. I got to admit, I am having fun with AM, because I do like AM radio. But I'm not going to go crazy like I did before. And I was in the amateur television, amateur satellite. Oh man, they had antennas, towers all over the place in the yard. Oh man, house full of equipment, garage full of equipment. I was such a nerd, Paul, that I had a 2-meter set up in my little tool shed. I built a 12 by 24 tool shed. I ran telephone and electric to it, because back in the day they were still using landline telephone. And in fact, lightning hit a tree next to the shed, came down the tree, jumped over the 2-meter Ringo, came down the coax, and then burned through a hole in the bottom of the coax and kept going straight, because the coax made a 90-degree turn into the shed, and lightning evidently cannot make a tight turn like that. Inertia. And all those damn electrons, they just have no energy to turn them, right? So it busted out the bottom of the coax and at the turn, and it headed for the conduit running underground, bringing telephone and electric from the main house to the shed. Went into the shed, and it hit a funnel sitting on top of a jerry can full of gasoline. Gasoline did not explode, but the funnel looked like it had been hit by a hammer. It had a great big dent in it, and right at the point was the burn mark. You could see that. It did not destroy my 2-meter rig. However, it did destroy the power supply, and it fused the telephone wires going back to the house. I had 6 lines. I pulled 6 telephone lines out to that shed, and all of them were fused together after that hit. On the way through VJB and the group, King Mike, 4 X-ray gone.
Well, first off, it sounded like a Three Stooges movie with you and your girlfriend all trying to get through the door at the same time. That was funny. I could just picture one of you going, woo, 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 woo. Ha, 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 ha. That's exactly what it came natural to me, Jim.
Wise guy.
Yeah. I'll settle this. Well, I'm surprised the gas can didn't go up. That's amazing. There must have been some sort of percussive impact that put a dent in the funnel without the electrical charge that would have ignited the gasoline. And when you think about it, they've documented where lightning strikes also push a huge amount of air pressure. That's where the thunder comes from. So I have to wonder whether that, whatever was left of that lightning charge was pushing some air ahead of it. And that's what dented the funnel, but it was already grounded or pretty much dissipated by the time it got there electrically, which is the only thing that kept that gas can from blowing up. Wow. We walk out in a meadow with the dogs on our hikes, and there's a big oak all by itself in the meadow. According to the circumference of the trunk, it's probably about 150 years old. and it got struck 2 seasons ago, and I didn't know if it was going to make it. Big chunk of bark came out all the way down to the ground. Didn't split it, didn't knock any branches off. But boy, there was an ugly gash in that big trunk. And I waited until the following spring as to whether it was going to come back, and it did in its full glory. And the next season it did the same, went through another fall, and it's come back now for a third springtime, also looking wonderful. So it survived. Not so with a center insulator that I had on a 75-meter dipole some years ago. I had a nearby lightning strike. By nearby, I mean to describe it as not so destructive that there was any damage in the house. But this is one of those old-style military center insulators that has the stainless steel spade lug nut and bolt threaded shaft and a tang that you can hang it with, and it all goes through a sandwiched pair of bake-like pieces with a gasket between them, and it terminates on the bottom of the pin connector. So this is what I had up as my main center insulator for my dipole. And, you know, we had a thunderstorm, and I noticed the antenna had come down, and I said, well, it probably was high wind or something. But then I was looking for the center insulator. That's where it broke. And when I found it, it was a lump of charcoal with some melted metal. So it must have struck nearby enough that my dipole represented a much better ground than other things in the area. And it took the hit, and yet none of it came in the house. Of course, I had probably grounded the antennas ahead of the aforementioned storm. But at the same time, you know, some of that always seems to get through. So we considered ourselves very, very lucky, and that's the closest we've ever come to it. Yeah, I'm noticing the static crashes too, Jim. They're up right now and started to obscure the readability of your signal at some point. I'm listening on a different node that's in North Carolina. Joe continues to come in really well there, and I notice I'm down about, looks like from 20 to 30 over, now down to about S9. So let me get it back to Joe, and you guys carry on. I think I'll fall back in the listening mode here and let Greater Herndon talk to Greater Georgia. And good evening. I see some thunderstorm activity down in the Tidewater area, southeastern part of Virginia. Probably where these static crashes are coming from. But also band propagation is getting a little bit weird too. Not as good a signal on any of you guys as when we first started. So here comes Joe with Best of 73. Thanks for the storytelling. Glad you survived. Glad your property survived for the most part, and that you're being made whole again, either by your own repairs or by the telephone company, anybody else supporting staff coming out to fix stuff. And Jim will look for you again. It could be number 605. And I totally understand about constraints on the radio station. Yeah, this is just sitting here, so if you ever change your mind, drop me a line. Put that picture off to the side somewhere. I can't part with it. It's the same board that I had brand new at the campus radio station in 1978 or 79. Same model of board, so it's got some nostalgic value for me. So I could see giving it a good home, but not otherwise posting it out to market. Plus, it's local. You know, that thing's big, and I'm not going to ship that. So, yeah. You raised your hand and it's like, ooh, you know, possible rehoming candidate. But not anytime soon, I take it. Okay. So N4RXV to take it with KM4XG on the side, 73 for Annapolis. Listening.
Okay, Paul. Good deal. And yes, boy, lightning. You know, the cute adage is about all I can call it. That lightning takes the path of least resistance. Is only, you know, partially true. It takes that path and all the other paths around it. It is very, it's not picky, but you surely can't tell what it's going to do. I don't know how many times you see that picture on the History Channel where they have they're up in different places and they shoot a rocket up and they start a lightning strike, and all the fast pictures they take of lightning and how it looks and how it covers, it just spreads out all over the place. You know, you got that one main strike, and then there are all these little feather. It looks like somebody's hair that you stuck the finger in their socket, and just. That's what lightning looks like. It looks like. It seems that it just takes all of those paths at the same time. So it's pretty funny where it actually shows up at. You can just hope for the best. That's all you can do. And start pulling out the old stuff and putting something new in its place, I guess. I tried to bring up a weather map here to see where the lightning strikes are, and it seems to be just north of St. Louis. So there's a huge storm there, and there's one over in, looks like in Louisiana has got a couple over there, so that must be where all these lightning strikes are. The one thing my loop antenna really does like is lightning. It seems to really like the sound of that lightning strike, because it comes right on in here. Both of you seem to still be doing okay. And Jim, I'm gonna have to side with Paul on this. Your description of both of you trying to get in that one door, and the fussing going on afterwards was quite humorous, and the Three Stooges was not far from coming to mind there. And then when he mentioned it, it's like, yep, that's probably what I was trying to think of. But very, very, very interesting activity there. Lord knows how you managed to get away from the strike of lightning in a gas can. That's that. I don't know how that happened, but you were definitely somehow blessed to keep from that whole shack just blowing up, because that is what lightning can do. And you know what a spark plug does in gasoline. So you had a huge spark plug and you had a tank of gas, and yet you came out pretty much unscathed. So good luck with that. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get over here and finish up this computer here. I've been kind of piddling at it, and it's just sitting there looking at me, waiting for me to do some clicking on it. So I need to finish up there. But a pleasure talking with y'all, Paul. Have a nice night, Mr. Jim. I'm sending to you, and I'll listen out for the final. But there might be somebody jump in here afterwards. I don't know. WA3VJB KM4XG. This is Joe in Georgia. November 4 Radio X-Ray Victor.
Okay, Joe. Yeah, cool beans, man. Yeah, that's exactly how it was, man. It was like a Three Stooges act. It was funny. And you're right, man. We lucked out when the gas can didn't blow up. The only thing I figured is it was a Faraday cage. It was a full jerry can full of gas. I mean, it was topped off, so there was no vapors, I guess. No vapors outside the can. And it didn't actually hit the can. It hit the funnel that was sitting on top of the can. And yeah, man, it looked like somebody bashed that funnel with a hammer. I mean, the funnel's not very substantial. It's just aluminum, right? Aluminum cone. But there was a burn mark. You could see where, the bolt itself had. I mean, it looked like somebody took a spot welder and just went. So I don't know if it was. I think it was the electrons themselves slamming into that thing is what bent it, because there's significant momentum transferred in a lightning strike. I'm not sure that's not what kills you, as much as the electricity going through you. It's the power of the strike itself, it's like a bullet went through you, the electrons are going at, relativistic velocities probably. Anyway, that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. 73, Paul, always nice to hear you, man. You're sounding great from Annapolis. And you really are teasing me. It makes me think how nice it would be. I got an email last week about a guy in Kentucky who wants to sell an RCA broadcast transmitter. He's got RCA 250K, 1800 watts continuous, and it's a beautiful looking thing too. And he only wants $1,000 for it. The only problem is, I have to go to Kentucky and get it, and it weighs like 3,000 pounds or something like that. It's huge. But man, that console of yours would look pretty sitting right in front of that train. I'm talking myself into it, Paul. Maybe if I get older and I can convince myself to clean out my garage and all the junk that's in it already, and then I can build a old-timey broadcast station in there. That would be nice. So anyway, that'll take some convincing on my part. 73, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. Thanks for letting me check in here this afternoon. Maybe we'll see you tonight. Well, it already is tonight, 9:21. All right. Good night, folks. WA3VJB and then for RXV. King Mike 4 X-Ray Golf 73 for now.
Good night, gentlemen.